What's happening, people? All right, you're about to watch another episode of The Presenter. Thank you so much in advance. Thank you as well for all the feedback for the first two episodes. Thank you to my guests, Ade Gman and DAZN. If you haven't watched those ones, please do. They're really, really good. All right, there are so many good young presenters in the game today. And when I say game, I don't just mean boxing. I mean across all sports. I work with a lot of good young presenters. This guy is numero uno, I really do believe, Mr. Jamie Ward. I think he can do anything. I think he's got charisma, good energy, knows the sport, and is just really good at what he does. And that's why I had to sit down and discuss his journey into what he does now, which is pretty much everything for MATCHROOM and DAZN. I think he's one of the best, and this is his story of how he got there and what he wants to do in the future. Enjoy.
And I remember getting up there, and I was like, this is so scary. You know, I was very lucky, I was been able to sit and study in the flesh and watch so many amazing people at the top of their game interview people. We had a residency at the Hilton at Wembley when we were doing the shows behind closed doors, obviously. Yeah. And I'd sit and I'd watch Mike Costello, then I'd watch Steve Bunce, then I'd watch Andy Scott. Yeah. And they'd also said to me that you've got 5 minutes. I don't know if you remember, the interview didn't go out into the stadium. Yeah. So, and the lights had come on. So they were like, you got 5 minutes basically to get in there and get exactly what you need. So you're like, okay, right. So who do I need to get? I need to get Eubank, Ben, and then Eddie and Ben Shalom. Yeah, I think it was Abu Dhabi. I think it was Frank Smith said to me, like, look, do you want to go live and do out of vision, but post-fight interviews on before the bell? Mate, terrified. Yeah. I remember being in my room like before and I was just like, nah, I'm not ready for this.
Jamie Ward.
Yes, sir.
How are we?
Do you know what? Nervous.
What are you nervous for, Jamie?
I don't know. I think probably because it's the first time that it's been flipped. First time I've ever been interviewed.
Yeah, you are now the guy that does all the interviews.
Yeah, right? For MATCHROOM anyway.
Yeah. Me and you kind of divvy him up quite a bit. Before we start, I do want to say this. I think you're one of the best in the business. And I don't say that lightly. It's a tough job that we do. I think what we do is incredibly difficult. A lot of people want to do it. So it's competitive. But I think I can appreciate you more because we do very similar stuff. Like what we do crossovers, right? We both do press conferences. We both do in-the-ring interviews. We both host. And because I know how difficult that is, when I watch someone do it and I'm like that, just watching, as a fan, I'm like, that ain't easy to nail. Do you know? Especially that moment post-fight where you go in the ring and you've just got to nail it.
You got to get it right.
You've got to get it right. There is no stuttering through it. You've got to get it right. You've got to get that feeling where you get the crowd involved, get the fighter on side, look for Eddie, get Eddie there, go to the losing fighter, which is always the hard one, and understand their plight. And I think you nail that perfectly.
Thank you, man. It's autopilot mode, isn't it?
Is it?
You know, for me, I think you rely on your prep. You rely on your research. I think you'll soon get found out if you don't do the adequate prep for a fight week, particularly a fight night. But I think when you get in the ring, like you say, you might have your first question in your back pocket, what you're going to ask. And a lot of it is, you know, you have to react. You don't know what's going to happen in the fight. You might have all these questions prepared for a fighter who's 11 rounds up and they might get knocked out in the 12th round. And all of a sudden, you know, if you rely too much on that, the prep on the night and writing down questions, I think you're going to come unstuck. But you know, when you get in there, I mean, the atmosphere a lot of the time carries it. I think you have to lean into that. I saw the atmosphere in Germany recently. It was unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
And that's the Germany one's interesting actually, because I don't think a lot of people know or understood that I wasn't supposed to do that. Because it was actually on German pay-per-view, DAZN pay-per-view. Right. So they had their own guy do an interview in German in the ring. And then DAZN were in my ear saying, no, you need to get in the ring and do an English one because that German one didn't quite get the crowd and we didn't get the response we wanted. And I was like, no, I ain't doing that. I haven't, like you said, I haven't prepped. I'm not ready for that. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep this simple and just keep saying Usyk and see the crowd go mad.
You know what to ask.
Yeah, you know what to ask.
You're around
and the crowd do go mad. How difficult is that though? And it's a good point you made when you are predicting fighter A is going to win and you got, you know, you're ready really with all the questions. You're looking at what could be next and then they do get chinned or they don't get the result. And then you've got to go in and interview fighter B when really your mind's on fighter A.
I think it's very difficult. But that's why I think you have to be very well prepared across the board for pretty much every eventuality, so to speak. I think with a post-fight interview, I think sometimes they are people do overcomplicate them a little bit. You know, I always think when you watch an interview and you think that was a great interview, you don't really remember what the questions were.
No,
you remember what the answers were. You know, people don't care what I'm saying. They just want to hear what the fighter's got to say within that moment. The rawness of a post-fight interview, I think, is what makes them so special. When, you know, the adrenaline is flying, and you know, there might have been some controversy that's just happened. Particularly, I also remember Paddy Donovan, Lewis Crocker won. That was the hardest one I've ever done because I got in the ring and I was
first
like,
or second?
The first fight.
Yeah.
Second fight was great because Lewis won, and you know, that's his dream moment, and it's just your duty to make sure you say something that he'll always be able to look back on and show his grandkids, you know. And I think most importantly as well, asking the questions that the fans want to know the answers to. That's your duty, isn't it? Right? That's what.
I think that's
is the main
easier
premise
for us because we're fight fans.
Yeah, I think
if you get someone in there that's maybe a good presenter but not a boxing fan, I think it can be difficult because I think they've only got 3 or 4 questions in their head and then they're like, shit, where am I going?
Definitely helps. But I think, from the first fight, you remember all the controversy. I mean, it was the first time I got in the ring and I was like, I have no idea how to start this. Like, genuinely, I was like, I don't know. Like, and it was right until I walked up to Lewis Crocker and, you know, I can hear you normally going, okay, well, let's get all the reaction. Lewis is in the ring with Jamie. And I was like, I could do a bit more time here. I think you just have to trust yourself and just, you know, like you say, just keep it simple. And often, more often than not, just open up to the fighter.
Eddie's always saved me in those moments.
Yeah.
I've had moments where Eddie's the greatest, it's going to probably sound like wrong, but almost the greatest sidekick there if you are struggling. Yeah. Whether it be a press conference, in-ring interview. Like if I've got a press conference and I'm getting nothing, I literally just look at Eddie like, I need you to go for 5 minutes.
And you'll get it.
He'll go for 10.
Yeah.
Even in the in-ring interview. If the fighter's not really selling themselves, I mean, you've said this before, we're not going to mention names, but we've wanted Fighter X to really go for it. And we're like, oh, go on, who next? And like, go down the barrel and really go for it. Yeah. And you don't do anything. Eddie, who next? Eddie will go for you. Yeah. I think Eddie's the greatest get out when I'm struggling. And I've seen it with you as well.
Yeah, Eddie's the ultimate hype man. Yeah. You know, but I think you really miss him when he's not there. Everyone's just going to be watching this thinking, oh, God, what a company man already. He's only 2 minutes in and saying you miss Eddie Hearn. But it's true. Like, in terms of...
He's incredible.
Promoters, in terms of what he does, you know, to get up there. You talk about, like, from our perspective of getting up there and doing a press conference, which I'm sure we'll talk about, with no notes and just being able to remember everything. You know, there's not many that can do it better than
off the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of not his job. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not really what promoters do. Like, I've seen old Sky Sports, there wasn't promoters, Adam Smith that used to do it. So that's a proper presenter if you like doing it.
I think that's when he's in his element most, though. He loves a top table setup and he loves showing off the card, the full card from top to bottom. That was always what he loved to do.
And if I'm a fighter, I love it. If I'm a fighter that's 4-0, I'm loving the fact that Eddie even knows who I am and remembers my name and remembers my third fight. And I think that's a big thing. Because I think if you are obviously European champion, world champion, Eddie should know every single fact about you. But if you're a young kid coming through who's really done nothing and Eddie mentions you like, he's going to be good, look out for him, he's 4-0 from talk, it must feel so good.
Imagine the buzz that'll give you, the motivation that'll give you, yeah definitely. All right. Yeah, I think, just back to your question, I'm not sure if I answered it, but yeah, like when you like you say, when you can't really plan for a result before you start.
No.
You know, and I think that's, I'm not going to say that's where the skill comes into it, but that's where you have to think on your feet. You've got to be quick because anything can happen. It's live sport. It's live sport. Anything can happen. And, you know, maybe in football, you probably get a bit longer, you know, obviously after 90 minutes. How long do you reckon the gap is until you hear from the manager? Or 15. The players? 15 minutes?
15.
What have you got in boxing? 3?
3.
Max. After the cards are out? Yeah. As soon as the cards are out,
they're in my ear saying, Ade, throw to Jamie.
Get in the ring. Get in the ring.
Or sometimes it's so quick, they're not even saying Ade, throw to Jamie. It's normally Adam throws to you. Do you know what I mean? It's that you literally, and I hope people at home can appreciate this, you've got 90 seconds max, maybe less, you know. You're in the ring. Soon as David Diamante, whoever's read out the scorecard, they're expecting you to, and I get it as well, because the fighters, that's when the adrenaline's there, that's when the crowd is still in there. Because any longer than that, the crowd's already gone home. So you've got to get in the ring and you've got to fucking nail that thing as quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah, it's scary sometimes. Yeah, scary. Even though it doesn't matter how many times you've done it.
But when you nail one,
oh, you feel good. Yeah.
When you nail one, you feel good. All right, let's go back a few years. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a little village called Newport in Essex, which is sort of in a grand scheme of things in between Cambridge and London. Yeah, I guess so to speak. Lived there for 18 years. 2 older sisters. Parents still live in the same 3-bedroom house that we all grew up in.
Yeah, nice.
And then it was until 18 when I fleed the nest, so to speak, and went to uni.
What uni?
I went to Glasgow Caledonian Uni.
Wow.
Big shout out, GCU.
Really? All the way up there?
Glasgow. My dad's from Glasgow.
Okay, yeah.
Massive Celtic fan. Sorry if that's going to put a few people off me.
Damn, I've
to be honest,
I've just lost subscribers.
It's not a good time in a minute. I don't know when this is going out, but we've got a big weekend coming up.
Martin O'Neill's back. So
Martin O'Neill's back.
Martin back.
But we need to beat Hearts on Sunday, and then I might be smiling again. But I think I don't know how many choices you have at uni. Is it 2 or 3? But I think 3 of mine were all unis in Glasgow.
Yeah.
It was always my dream. I think part of it, I've got loads of family up there.
Yeah.
So part of it was to live closer to them. Part of it was to be close to Celtic, which was probably the main thing.
Yeah.
And I think the last part of it was, being in a small village like that and only really going out to London very sparingly, obviously before I was 18 anyway. It was like, if I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to go and I'm going to get away and, and take myself completely out of my comfort zone. But there's videos of me when I'm like 14, talking to people saying, one day I'm going to come to uni in Glasgow. And
really?
And
so it was always
the dream.
Okay.
Always the dream. But it took me a long time to, it was one thing having the dream, but I think to get the results I needed was a bit more challenging for me to get to uni.
Well, it's kind of like what you've done with boxing. I mean, I guess you studied sports journalism, didn't you?
So I did media and communication.
Okay.
It was sort of a broad overview of...
With the plan on being what you are now?
I always wanted to be a commentator. A football commentator was my first dream. So I was actually at my mum and dad's house the other day and going through your old box of like school reports and stuff. And I was a massive WWE fan.
Who wasn't? Who was your guy?
Back in the day, I mean, it was like Undertaker, Kane, Big Show.
That era. Yeah,
Triple H,
The
John
Rock,
Cena,
Stone Cold.
Shawn Michaels, those guys.
What do they call it? The Attitude.
I think the Rock and Stone Cold maybe slightly before me.
Okay, yeah.
Like 2007 sort of era.
Good era.
Yeah, good era. So I'd write reports on wrestling matches, which when you think about it, for a young kid, that's so bizarre. Like, I don't really know why I did that. No one was telling me to do that. Like, so when I think back to it now, it is a bit strange. And like the first real time I sort of realised this was something I wanted to do is when me and my mates would play FIFA, we'd mute the commentary and I'd commentate on the game. Jeez. How weird's that? I don't know if anyone does that. I don't know if anyone else has done that. I'd love to know.
It's funny though, because you do hear people say
so bizarre.
When they've got commentators they don't like, turn a commentary off.
Yeah.
I think even Adam Smith might have told me that that's kind of how he got into it, where he used to turn off the commentary of some boxing matches and used to commentate himself.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he's
obviously
one of the best commentators I've ever seen.
Even though obviously it's a difference between commentating on live boxing and commentating on a game of FIFA, but ultimately the premise of it, I'm still commentating on something that is happening in front of me that I'm not in control of.
100%.
And like it worked out being good practice for me, I think. But that was when I was young, really young. Probably from like 12 to 16. But when I think back to it now, it's weird that I used to do that.
So you go to uni.
Yep.
You get your degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
very
issues.
proud of that. No. Well, yeah. I got it was a 4-year course.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun in Glasgow, wicked city. Yeah. You've been for the boxing?
I have been for boxing. Yeah. Josh Taylor fight. Yeah, I've been for crazy place.
Great people.
Like just
great
incredible. Like that's kind of place where you want to get up a day early so you can have a drink, and then you want the fight to end early so you can have a drink. Yeah. Both things happened.
In terms of pubs, it's the best.
It's the greatest. And the people.
Yeah, the people.
And the people up there are incredible as well. Honestly, the weather could be better.
The weather's bad. It's just grey. It's grey.
That's all it is.
80% of the year. But the odd sunny day is brilliant in Glasgow. But,
so you do that?
Yeah, I got a degree. Yeah. First class degree. Shout out.
Well
I was very proud of myself for that, to be fair. Probably my proudest achievement to date, I think, in some ways. And then I'll tell you, the story is, I always had these big ambitions. I used to always tell people that I was going to, be a commentator and work. I wanted to work for Celtic TV when I was younger. And I remember emailing round, like Celtic Fans TV came out when I was at uni, and I remember sending them an email. Because I've only ever had 2 jobs. My CV is Tesco's and MATCHROOM. That's it.
That's crazy.
That's it. And in my 3rd year, they were like, right, there's a module where you need to have 21 days practical work experience and write a journal. And I had nothing. I didn't have 1 day's work experience, relevant work experience. Excuse me. And I was sitting in a pub with my friend, Will, who I live with now, who's been my mate since we were in year 2.
Nice.
And I was like, mate, I'm up against it here. I've got no work experience and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'd even spoke to my manager at Tesco at the time and been like, is there anything we can sort of, you've got a social media account I can run for a bit. Like, it was bad. I probably had too much fun. I hadn't done anything. Yeah. And I sort of realised it at that point where I was like, there was kids on the journalism course who had already been working for
Yeah, like
newspapers. I was miles behind.
You're flagging a bit here.
I was miles behind. So this is when I'm 20, I think. And he was like, well, my dad works for MATCHROOM. Like, and I knew that. I knew his dad, Tony Davison, who's probably been the most important person in my career, who I owe endless thanks to. And he was like, my dad will probably get you a bit of work experience. And I was like, surely not a MATCHROOM. And he was like...
Did you know of MATCHROOM?
Yeah, of course. So I was a boxing fan.
You're a big boxing fan. Okay, cool.
Not a big boxing fan. I was a boxing fan.
Yeah.
And I knew of MATCHROOM, and I used to get really jealous.
And that's when MATCHROOM were flying with Sky
flying,
Sports. Flying.
Yeah. Like Joshua Klitschko era.
Yeah. Massive. You couldn't beat it.
No. Yeah. And then Will basically said, my friend Will, he was like, I'll speak to my dad. And I got back to uni, and Tony rang me, and he was like, look, you can come down and be a runner, be a T-boy, essentially. Yeah. There's a big show coming up in Newcastle with a local lad called Lewis Ritson, who at that stage I'd never heard of. He's fighting for the European title against Patera, I think that was.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to come down and run T and just look after people, and just it'll be a good work experience? So I was like, 100%. So I remember getting on the train down to Newcastle, and I was like, so who am I looking after? And he's like, so I think this must have been pre-DAZN.
Yeah.
Because it was a world feed and there was Sky
pre-DAZN,
Sports.
Yeah.
And the world feed, he was like, so you're looking after Ed Draper, who was at Sky Sports, who was a reporter on Sky Sports, who I also interviewed for my dissertation, so shout out to Ed Draper, and former IBF world middleweight champion Darren Barker.
Wow.
So that's how I met Darren. So I remember,
so you were the runner?
I was Darren's T-boy.
This is interesting. Okay, yeah.
So I remember being like, oh God, it's Darren Barker. Like, I was looking him up on Instagram. I was like, oh, right, okay. And I remember he asked me to go and get him a coffee, and this was in a rowdy night in Newcastle. Looking forward to going back there soon. It's always brilliant when the crowd gets going. And
Josh Kelly, you are correct.
Josh Kelly, of course. I bought 2 coffees, and as I turned around, I'd queued up for about 15 minutes. Some big geezer went, what, bumped straight into me, burnt both my hands. The coffee's gone all over me, and I queued up again for like another half an hour, shaking with this coffee to give it to Darren. I was like, man, I'm so sorry for the delay. You know what he's like? He's like, don't be daft, what are you talking about? And we went back to the hotel after. Sorry if I'm going on it.
No, this is good. No one knows this about you.
We went back to the hotel afterwards, mate, and I was thinking, I remember I'd been taking videos of the hotel room, and I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. Like, if this is it, I've got a great story to tell the lads. That's how I saw it. I was like, got a great story and 1 journal entry for I've got 20 days left of work experience to write in this journal, excuse me. And I remember being in the hotel lobby, the Crown Plaza, and looking around and seeing Eddie and Adam Smith and Coogan. And I was an IFL fan at the time. And I remember I went the longest way round to get to the bathroom so I could accidentally bump into Coogan. I've told him this. And I bumped into him, and I remember saying to him, oh, like, big fan of IFL, like, you guys are changing the game, blah, blah, blah. And on the way out, when I was going to bed, I got a tap on the shoulder from someone, and he went, oh, mate, listen, next time we'll definitely get a beer, like, brilliant job tonight. You made everything easy for me tonight. And that was Darren Barker. And that's how I met him. And then I came down for Usyk Bellew.
Okay, wait. So
sorry, I'll pause.
No, that's good. So you did that one.
Yeah.
That was for the journal. Did you then, you then got offered more work from them? Or
yeah, so I did that one. And Tony Davison, who I've mentioned, was basically like, you know, if you want to come down and do them when you can around your studies, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, so for free, obviously.
MATCHROOM paid for me to get there. I didn't get paid any money, obviously. And I was like, unbelievable. So he was like, the next big one is, so I think Ritson, from memory, might have been in October. I might be wrong. And there was one coming up, a big one in Manchester, Usyk versus Bellew. And I was like, unbelievable. Ridiculous. Went down to Manchester, same thing. And that's when I saved my number on Darren's phone. I think it's still saved the same. Something like Jamie Use Me Ward. Something like that. And it's still saved. It's exactly the same thing on his phone, which is quite funny. Did Usyk Bellew, because I remember Ross Garrity, who's like the CMO at MATCHROOM now still. He'd messaged me asking me to go and get some Dominoes for everyone just before the main event, and I completely ignored the message. Bad, that, innit?
That is bad.
Snuck out and watched the main event.
That is very
I was
bad.
quite a good runner when I put my heart into it, and then the next one I did was White Chisora 2 at the O2. So I got the good gigs, really.
Yeah, these are ridiculously good gigs.
And that was when we broke up for uni for Christmas. And then Tony was like, look, do you want to come into MATCHROOM HQ, where he was based? He was head of television at the time.
Yeah. Where's he? What, Brentwood? No.
Yeah, in Brentwood. I think he's left MATCHROOM now. He left a couple of years ago, I think. And he was like, you know, you can come in and do a similar thing, really, just run teas. And he used to drive. So he lived Cambridge way, and I lived in Newport, as I said. He'd drive to get to Brentwood, like half an hour completely out of his way, pick me up at 7:30 in the morning. I only did it for a week. But like that stuff is, you know, when you think about it, I think anyone who's anyone, you know, has at some point needed someone in their life to believe in them or give them a chance
100%.
or do something for them that they really didn't have to or need to. And Tony was definitely my example of that. And
there is that, isn't it? There is that, like, and I think this is the reason I wanted to do this presenter thing, was I get so many messages from people saying, how do I become a presenter? I love what you do. You must get it a lot now as well. And I've always said there's so many ways to skin this cat. And you've done it by getting free work experience at MATCHROOM. Others have done it by, we had Ade Gman talking about free stuff on the radio. I've done it as well, free TV in bloody Africa. There's so many different ways. So, all right, so you're in MATCHROOM now.
Yep.
Are you there now full time? You've left uni there full time, or are you still doing a bit of uni at MATCHROOM?
So just to that point, I think when you're starting out, I get, like you say, a lot of DMs from, like, I think it's the easiest, not the easiest, but the best time ever to be a content creator is now. Because you can do it on your phone, you can watch a fight, you can react to it and post it on
easy
Instagram.
now, isn't it? Yeah.
And
there are no excuses really not to do it.
And boxing's a very accessible sport. You know, you can start a YouTube channel, and within a couple of months, you might be interviewing Eddie Hearn at a press conference.
Yeah, the barriers to entry are quite easy.
That's true.
They're quite easy, and as you say, I mean, it's not like Eddie only does the big dogs. I've seen Eddie, and again, this is probably an Eddie loving show today, but I've seen Eddie queue up and literally do 20 YouTubers back to back to back, and it'll give Coogan and the big dogs the same energy he gives a guy that's got 300 subscribers. So you're right. If you've got a camera and you can ask questions, you've got a chance.
Yeah, and I think just back to your point about doing free stuff and volunteering, and particularly early on, or like everyone's on a different timeline and when they identify what they want to do. We were probably quite lucky. That was something we knew from a young age that we wanted to get into this world, but don't ever think that something's beneath you. You know, free work or voluntary work. Like, get around it. Get around the sport.
100%.
Feel that buzz, and then that's when it becomes addictive. But
yeah, and that's when it then doesn't seem like a job.
Oh yeah, we're very lucky.
I mean, I don't class it's work. Don't get me wrong, and we get paid, and thank God. But I don't look at it as a job like other people's job. Like, we still got friends that have normal jobs, and then when I speak to them about their jobs, I'm like, bloody hell. And then when I think I'm on a plane to Saudi, business class, about to interview.
I don't get that. I don't get that.
I'm the face of the time, joking.
Yeah, well, I'm
about to interview anyway. I'm like,
difference.
geez, what a life. Honestly,
Yeah.
so lucky. All right, sorry, go on. So you've done a few gigs at MATCHROOM. You've you're there now.
So I've done my work. I've done my work experience.
You've done that,
HQ.
okay? Yeah.
And then it's so weird. It just seems too good to be true. And I consider myself extremely lucky to be in the position I'm in. Incredibly fortunate. Right place, right time. Knew the right people. And Tony was taking me home after my work experience had finished, and a job. He showed me a picture on his phone, and it was a job vacancy at MATCHROOM, in the MATCHROOM boxing team. Because I'd been in the TV department. I hadn't been in, which is based in the main house at MATCHROOM.
Yeah.
And the boxing department.
Crazy that house,
was
isn't it?
just about moving into the old stables, which is our new office now. We've been for a few years, and it was a junior social media assistant job for MATCHROOM boxing. And I was like, oh, got to apply for that. Unbelievable. And so I applied for the job, and then I came down to meet Scott Hamilton, who I do the Flash Knockdown podcast with.
Scott's good man.
Scott's good man, big man at MATCHROOM, runs all the socials.
Saw him the other day
He's a
with
good
Dalton
guy,
Smith, really nice guy.
Yeah, good guy. And I met him at the O2, and it was Ted Cheeseman against Garcia, I think, for the European title. And we met in one of the dressing rooms. We sat down, and he was basically saying, look, we think you'd be a good fit for the role. Like, obviously, you're still going to have to go through the interview process, but we think because you know people and you've been around, you'll be a good fit. And I was so nervous to sit with Scott. Like, I remember I'd been in the room at the Intercontinental, and again, I was just like, you know,
how many years ago are we talking now?
This was I've been at MATCHROOM 7 years in the summer. So what, 2019.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember just taking like videos out the window, the Intercontinental of the O2, you know, that great view, and just being like, I don't care what happens now. Like, I've made it. You know, I thought at that stage, I was like, oh, I've made it. And I learned all the cards, records, like off by heart. And now, when I think about it now, it would have been so stupid if he'd have gone to me like, oh, who are you looking forward to seeing tonight? And I'd have reeled off like before the bell, like all their records. But, you know, I did that. And I sat down with him in the dressing room, and it was so weird, mate. A mouse, right, swear to God, ran out from wherever, somewhere, from out of a wall, and like ran around our feet and then disappeared again. And I'm a man of faith, right? But that was like, I swear that was like some divine intervention.
Yeah.
And it just killed the atmosphere. It made it, we were laughing, and it made it so relaxed, and we had a really good chat. And I had to go, so I was still at uni at this stage. I went back to Glasgow, came down for my first interview, which my dad took me to, and then went back to Glasgow and came back for a second interview. And, you know, I'd given it my best, and I'd really put everything into the interview process. I had to do like a project and pretend I was running the Twitter accounts, because obviously that's what the job was for at the time. And so I went from having this conversation with my friend Will outside the pub with no work experience to having an offer to work for MATCHROOM, and they were willing to wait until I graduated in the July. So I had an offer to work for MATCHROOM before I'd handed in the journal.
God.
Of what, a few months or 6-7 months previous, I didn't have a day.
And that's because of doing free work, and them, I guess, them seeing the enthusiasm. Obviously, look, your interview would have been good, but them seeing practical work as opposed to, you know, someone that's never done it before. So they've seen you around Darren and the fighters and knowing the fighters and just the energy and
I think you'll agree on this. I think a lot of it is, you know, when you're looking for someone for a certain role, look, you have to be the right fit, whether it's a very academic job, you know, maybe you have to have the right qualifications or, you know, you have to have the right skill set, especially if they want you to come into a job and hit the ground running. But a lot of it is about who you are. Yeah. You know, and whether you have the right energy and, you know, you have the right passion and the right drive and the right charisma, and you look at the team and you think, I can see that person fitting in. Because ultimately, you go to work every day, you want to work with someone. Yeah, that you like. You know, of course. So at best, as close as you can get to that is like the ultimate dream. And I think we've kind of built that team, haven't we? I'm looking at our team now that we've got in terms of comms, presenter, reporter. I feel like we've got a good team. I was thinking that earlier. So like whether it, like me, you, Darren, Barry, Carl now in the mix. Yeah. Tony, Adam Smith, obviously. And then aside, like the people who make us look good. Yeah, and then the other ones that come in, Charlie Parsons will come in, Sonny Edwards come in. And I think it's a good Charlie,
team.
Sonny.
A good mix of
big team.
Everyone across the board that can do stuff.
And I think everyone knows their role now. Yeah. Everyone feels safe when the other person's speaking. I remember Mike Costello said to me, what I mean by that is, one of the first gigs I did, he was like, you know, your performance is... He basically said, you know, if you're crap, it makes us look crap. Yes. More or less. Good shout. And it really made me think like, oh shit, okay, I need to be on it here. Like, because I think if one person maybe falls short, then the whole broadcast maybe comes into question. Because
then what people do, and again, we've seen it on Twitter, they were rubbish. All they mean is one person was, but now all of a sudden we're under the same umbrella. And it's like, oh, that event was, or the commentators weren't great. When really they mean is 30 seconds of the commentary piece weren't great, but now all of a sudden it's the whole commentary team.
I think we have a strong unit, and we all get on really well, which I think helps. But I think, you know, when you're speaking or where you're doing a link and you're throwing to me, it feels safe, you know? Yeah. And I think we're also very lucky. I think people forget, well, I certainly don't forget, that it's the people in your ear who make you look good a lot of the time.
Dude, I'm so happy you've done that. And we're going to come back to
They're the most important people.
They are the most important. And people, you know. And I've tried to explain this on my YouTube channel, that we wear earpieces and you literally can hear everything. Producer, director. Sometimes you can even hear the bus at the back, or the truck, where they're all screaming and shouting because they're giving orders and cameras are going all over the place. Yet you've still got to almost put on a smile and pretend you can't hear that. Yeah. Like, you know, you hear all that and it's just chaos.
And it gets left on sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it gets left on.
Remember Dave Allen, when Dave Allen boxed Arslanbek Makhmudov, I had to do a walk across the room. So, you know, you might have seen the new MATCHROOM press conferences. Yeah. They've changed it up a bit. They're trying to keep it fresh with the rebrand. You've got a few different zones. And I had to walk across the room and then like proper like David Brent style, like then onto the stage, put one mic down and pick the other up. For the whole thing, until I'd got to asking Frank Smith a question, I could hear everything. And the worst thing is about that, and it's happened to me so many times, there ain't nothing you can do. No.
Like, literally, it's not like you can say, stop it, I can hear. You've just got to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's nothing you can do. Yeah. And that's difficult, but I guess that's now part of what it is. That's just what we do. All right, we're jumping. So you've now got the job. You're in MATCHROOM 5 days a week, 6 days a week.
Well, so I finished uni. Yeah. Finished uni, did my dissertation. I think for the first couple of weeks, I was like, done it. I don't even need to, like, there was a part of me where I was like, took my foot off the gas with uni a bit, because I was like, well, I've got this job now, my dream job. I could never have imagined I'd get. Was it your dream job? Like, was that? Yeah. Well, like, going through uni, you're thinking, this is who? Yeah, not necessarily MATCHROOM, but like once I'd been around it and I'd experienced it. Yeah, I remember putting in my family group chat. They definitely suckered you in with the fights they showed. Oh yeah, they did. I mean, they did. They sell you on Usyk belly. You know what I mean? But I remember putting in my family group chat. I was like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this job. Yeah. So at that stage of my life, it meant a lot to me. I think, you know, when you tell people when you're younger that you want to do something that's a little bit out there or a little bit different, like there was plenty of times where I was laughed out of there. You know, telling people at parties at uni, oh yeah, I want to be a commentator, because that was still the early dream. And, you know, like, oh, it's not a job. Who do you think you are? Like, blah blah blah, as if, you know. You know, you have to overcome that, I think, to a certain extent. So I also realised I'd sacrificed a lot at uni to make things work, and I had to put everything into then finishing my degree as best as I could, which I did. And then I graduated in, when did I finish? I would have finished uni in like the May, and I started in July. Dillian White, Oscar Rivas. July 2019 was my first fight week. Yeah.
Remember that fight? Controversial fight that was. I remember that fight like it was yesterday. All right, so you're there.
Yep.
Social media guy.
Yep.
Are you even really thinking? When would you say was your first time on TV presenting or doing something?
So I did that for a few years. I've done a few jobs. So my first real jobs were like running the social media with Scott, who we spoke about. And I went from that to then I was making sure there was no mistakes on the backdrops. Yeah. I was like the last port of call sometimes before they went to print to make sure the names were all spelt right. I used to do the fighters' ring walk music. I'd be on iMovie, like cutting their songs together. Okay. Hoovering the stage before the weigh-in. I've done a lot of random jobs at MATCHROOM. Like I've been around the block, you know. But then it was before the bell, so the prelims. It was in Abu Dhabi, and I think they were trying to improve the post-fight.
Is that Abu Dhabi? Is that Bivol
Zerdo? Yeah. Okay. So you remember, obviously, during the pandemic with Fight Camp, that was the first ever time I did a post-fight interview. So MATCHROOM basically said to me, look, you've been doing a lot of the interviews behind the scenes, because that's what I was doing. I was doing like interviews for Media Day, essentially, for MATCHROOM's social media. And they were like, look, do you want to do the post-fight interviews for MATCHROOM YouTube after the fights and Fight Camp? Because there was very limited media, obviously, at the office at that stage of time. And I did that, and that all went well. And I started doing the post-fight interviews on MATCHROOM YouTube quite regularly after every show. And yeah, I think it was Abu Dhabi. I think it was Frank Smith said to me, like, look, do you want to go live and do out of vision, but post-fight interviews on before the bell? Mate, terrified. Yeah. I remember being in my room like before, and I was just like, nah, I'm not ready for this. You know, it's live. Like, what if I say this, or what if I do that? You know,
nothing is harder than live TV. No. Nothing also gives the adrenaline feel like live TV, but there's nothing more difficult. I always say this to people: when Jim Bentley, who's the greatest, is in my ear saying, all right, we're live in 5, 4. It doesn't say 3, 2, 1, just goes quiet. And they go. I'm like, here we go.
You know what, I laugh there, because it's like, I know exactly what you're saying there. It's like nothing else in the world exists. Like, you know, like when you stood there on the stage like that, and you're just like, oh shit, I didn't sign up for this. Like,
nothing.
Nothing. Or like when Michael Buffer goes, like, I think you'll probably want to talk about Eubank Ben and stuff, but like, you know, when he goes, and now making his way to the stage, Mr. Jamie Ward. And it's just like...
It's just you. This is it now. Like, and you can see everyone.
It's scary, man.
It's weird. Sometimes I can't see them. Like sometimes I can just see faces in front of me and I can't quite work out who they are. Yeah. Because I'm so focused on just that opening 1 minute at the press conference where you know you've got to nail that. And then I can go to fighters and it's quite easy when you go down the line and blah, 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 blah.
But you doubt yourself, don't you, in those moments? I do.
100%.
I'm just a little plonker from Essex. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I read my opener 100 times. Yeah, and I've got to nail it. I've got to nail it. Mouth gets dry. Got to nail it. Slip up. Still got to keep going. Even when I know I've made a mistake, people at home might not know, but so I've got to just keep on going. But live TV is so difficult, but it's so much fun.
Oh, you missed the buzz. Like our last show was Ghana. Well, for me anyway. And I miss it. I went on holiday recently, and I must admit, by the end of the holiday, I'm thinking, I miss the... It's great being relaxed, but I miss the buzz. And so basically, long story short, I started doing all the prelim fights on YouTube, post-fight interviews. And then it was Joe Cordina versus Rakimov.
Good fight.
And I got basically asked by Jim Bentley, actually. He was like, look, do you want to do a live hit on the broadcast outside Joe's dressing room with Barry Jones, and then go into Joe's dressing room and ask him a few questions? And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, yeah, but again, same thing in my room.
But you think you're ready for it though? You don't think they're like? Do you think at the time that I've done enough in terms of the backstage interviews, in terms of all the other stuff, to be ready for that situation?
Well, I knew Joe really well, which helped, and I spoke to him beforehand, and I was like, "This is what I'm going to ask you. Please just be friendly."
I've done that as well. I've done that a lot with fighters. I've done that like just so they know I'm not tripping them up, and I know I can get a good answer from them. I'm going to keep it quick. I'm just going to ask you about this. Yeah. Just be ready. Yeah.
And I think I felt ready. I was so nervous. And I actually watched it back the other day and I spoke so fast. I was like, here we go then, massive night here in Cardiff, big night for Joe Cordina, who looks to become a 2-time IBF World Super Featherweight Champion. Like, it was like, you couldn't even hear what I was saying, but it's just because I just wanted to get it done. And afterwards I was like, okay, that was fun. Like, I really enjoyed that. And I didn't really do any more in front of camera stuff for a little while until an opportunity came up. Someone couldn't make the broadcast. It was Sonny Edwards' world title fight at Wembley Arena. And Katie Hearn, Eddie's sister, rang me and was like, do you want to be the reporter for the night? And as far as I'm aware, I've done every UK show since.
Oh, wow.
I think.
Wow. Do you know who presented that night?
It might have been Laura Woods.
Laura Woods.
Laura
okay.
Woods.
Yeah.
I don't know where you were.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Parking your G-Wagon.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. And it all happened way too fast. When I think about it now, way too fast. Like I did always want to keep working my way up and eventually be in front of camera. And I was very lucky, I've been able to sit and study in the flesh and watch so many amazing people at the top of their game interview people. You know, like you'd pay, God, how much money would you pay to sit in a room? So we had a residency at the Hilton at Wembley when we were doing the shows behind closed doors, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'd sit and I'd watch Mike Costello, then I'd watch Steve Bunce, then I'd watch Andy Scott, and I'd just sit there and watch and try and think like, okay, in different moments in interviews, if a fighter starts crying, how do they deal with it? If they need the fighter to really go for it, how do they ask that question? And I just sat and I just studied them.
That's so interesting you say that, because that's been my biggest moment of knowing I can do it a little bit is, you know, obviously when DAZN are around, they get the first dibs on the fighters. And I'm literally looking around and I've got Buncey waiting after me. And I've got literally all the big broadcasters, all the big people that do all the newspapers waiting for me to go first. And as soon as I've done the interview, they're like, oh, good interview. And I'm like, okay. And that makes me kind of feel like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
Because the pressure on them lot waiting for you, I feel like
But
is
you've
massive.
probably got the best position because you're, you know, on those media days, the fighters get asked the same questions.
Yeah. So I've got the
hundreds of
better
times.
position because I go first.
Yeah. So from
So
a
it's something
matchroom
different.
perspective, when they're not on broadcast,
Yeah.
I always just try and do random stuff. So do you remember Fury Usyk? I think you'd said to me, Fury
was tough.
interest,
Is that the second fight?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I sent you these photos, and Fury was like, we were like laughing and
couldn't
joking,
believe
like,
that.
what's going on here? It's
Yeah.
because I was asking him
Yeah,
the
something
most
different.
random questions. And sometimes that works, you know, but also you have to do a sit down serious interview because it needs to go on the broadcast. But I think going first is probably the best place to go.
I think it is. I think it's because the fighters are like, okay, fighters will get bored eventually. I don't care who they are and what, you know, what money they're getting paid to fight. If you're number 10 to interview them, good luck. I want to go to your, and look, correct me if I'm wrong, I think your biggest moment. You've had some big moments. I mean, Katie Taylor in Ireland, post-fight interviews, enormous. But I don't think anything's going to get bigger than Eubank Ben, post-fight, Tottenham Stadium, 65,000. The fight everyone's been waiting for over 30 years, and you're doing the post-fight in-ring interviews. Talk to me what's going through your mind as you know you're about to get in the ring and do the biggest interviews of your life.
Well, it was before the interviews, it was the press conference. So it was Dalton Smith versus, who was Dalton fighting? European title fight, Weezer,
European
was
title,
it?
Weezer, yeah.
And I always have been quite good at like blocking out what's coming next and just focusing on the fight week. But I got a call on, I think, the Thursday, and you weren't around, basically.
I wasn't around, yeah.
You weren't around, so they're like, I've been asked by DAZN to, you know, be a reporter for the week. So I'm like, oh my God, like, unbelievable. Like, this feels completely different to anything I've been doing reporting for Matchroom for like 2 years.
This is a whole, this is just enormous.
Everyone's going to watch this.
Yeah.
You know. Katie Taylor in Dublin when she beat Chantel, probably been the biggest one that I'd done.
That was
before
massive. That was massive.
Which was big. So I was like, oh my God.
Think about it, that was massive, yeah. We were there together for that one. I think that was 9,000 people.
Yeah, but the way the free arena's done is like...
looks like, that side looks like 50,000.
And the lights are on the crowd.
Yeah.
So you can see everyone's faces. Normally when you're in the ring, like, you can't see anything, can you? You can only see the first couple of rows. Even in the stadium, you can't really see out the ropes, can you? So...
Yeah, you're right. That arena, the free arena, is so steep as well. The backdrop's so steep. So you can literally look up top and see them. Yeah.
And it felt like such a massive moment, for Katie. It was, you know, it felt like such a massive moment. But back to Eubank Ben. So, yeah, I got the call from DAZN. I was like, yeah. And anyway, that was it. Then I got another text saying, might be something major that I need to talk to you about. I'm like, what's that? And then they were like, do you want to host the press conference? So I've never done it before. I've done, at this stage, me and Darren Barker sometimes sit on the sofas and do like the next gen style press conferences, which are quite fun, a bit more like a chat show, a bit like this really. But they were like, no, you're going to be in the middle, like on the plinth doing the presser. And that, like, I just remember I think that might have been 2 weeks away. I couldn't think about anything else. Like it was just
nerves or excitement?
I was so nervous.
Yeah. The people always say, "Oh, live in the moment, live in the moment." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
I didn't feel ready for that.
I'm more nervous than anything. You're talking about living in the moment. Like that part, as you say, when Michael Buffett introduces you on, and you look around, and it's Eddie over there with Nigel and Connor, and you look that way, and it's Chris, Ben Shalom, and whoever else.
In terms of intimidating figures in boxing,
scary.
That's probably like as good as it's going to get in some degree. And I remember getting up there, and I was like, "This is so scary," you know. And
I'm so happy you're here, yeah. Because no one, I'm happy you relate to this because it is so scary.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I remember going back to the story of the mouse that ran out around my feet in the O2, which broke the ice. When I started, I thought that Derek Chisora, I don't know if you remember watching this, booed me. So I went, "Oh, thanks, Derek."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was actually Ben Shalom.
Oh.
Right? So I can't remember exactly what I said, but someone was like, "Oh, it was Ben." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, Derek, wrong person to falsely accuse." And then I laughed. And as soon as I laughed, I just felt my shoulders drop. And I was like, okay. I can do this. I can give this a good go.
Yeah.
And that was the one where I got off the stage at the end. And it's a very surreal feeling, that, isn't it? Because everyone's going to you, "Oh, you've done well." Like that was a...
Yeah, that getting off the stage and nailing it, it's hard to put into words the feeling after when you know you've done a good job, but you also want to see it back. I've become quite addicted, and I shouldn't have. Like anyone on Twitter say anything like what's going on
It's hard not to.
Yeah,
it's hard not to.
It is, especially for something of that magnitude. When it's you know, it's seen by the world.
Yeah,
that's not a press conference that's just UK based. That's worldwide based.
But I think like, this is. I'm not in any way a boastful person at all. I think maybe I was better than people thought I was going to be, which helped me.
Yeah.
I think not to say I think people thought it was going to be crap, but I think maybe I did it better than what people would originally thought. I think even Eddie said that, you know, he was surprised, which I think meant I got probably more praise than I deserved. Really.
No, I disagree because again, and I've said this to you, and I think me and you kind of had private conversations where I'm like, I don't like doing those because I find them like if you haven't got a fighter that gives you something, or you make a mistake, it's magnified. That one I made with Eubank and his trainer, and I'm like, don't like doing them. So when I see someone that does like doing them, I look at you as a bit like an alien. What do you mean you do like doing them? And then when you nail them,
I do know.
And even credit to Dev as well. Dev's quite similar. Dev likes doing them. And I'm like, how do you like doing those things? Like, you've got to get that first minute 30 out, and you've got to hit every point. His Excellency Turkey al-Sheikh. You've got to make sure there is no slip-ups. And then you've got to pray to God that your first question is received and you get something. And thank God you got you back in Ben, so you know you're going to get something.
Yeah, I think that monologue's definitely the most important part.
Monologue. Yeah.
And when I got up to do my monologue for Eubank Ben 2, we'll go back to the first fight in a minute, but went up to and we were talking about problems with earpieces. Now I couldn't hear myself. So I've got these noise-cancelling ears that are like shaped and moulded to your ear, and this sounds like such a silly problem.
I know what you mean.
It's hard to explain. So when you're speaking, you can't your own voice is really quiet. So obviously when you're speaking into a microphone, you can hear yourself really loudly.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hear myself. And, you know, everyone's there at this point. You know, there's no, like you say, there's no going back there. And I just knew I needed to get my first question underway so I could take my ears out and go, help me.
So I did the first Eubank Ben presser, the X-Lap. I did that one. Yeah. So bear in mind, I've already made the mistake. Ronnie Davis, Ronnie Shields.
Yeah.
So I'm already like on edge thinking, in my head I'm thinking, no more mistakes. It's fine, you've done it, it's okay. And I, for about a minute after the mistake, heart's going. Because Eubank's called it out.
Eubank let you know.
Eubank let me know.
Yeah, he let me know a few times.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah. Heart's going though. I'm thinking, no more. Jim or someone's in my ear at that point, and they're saying, Ade, can you hear me? How are you supposed to say yes? I'm doing it. So I'm like, got you. I literally done that. I was like, got you. And he says, if you can hear me, just like tap your head a bit. So I'm like, this is during me trying to do the biggest press conference. That was the first one for Eubank Ben. So it's the biggest thing we've seen ever.
In Manchester, wasn't it?
In Manchester. He's saying, Turkey's going to call you. He's telling me this whilst I'm doing the presser. And I'm thinking, okay. He said, is your phone on silent? And literally, he's having a conversation with me while the presser's going on. And he says, like, Turkey's going to call you now if you can get your phone out. And I'm like, what are you? This is horrendous. I haven't got time for this. Like, just ruining my presser. I'm already messed up with the Eubank thing. I can't have any else. And then he says, just put Turkey's phone to the thing.
And you show everyone the number?
I show the number. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, ground just swallowed me. And at the time, I've been thinking, I haven't just shown the number.
So does that put you off doing them for good now?
No, because I've done others after.
What ones have you done?
I've done Baturbia Bill when Eubank, then always a Eubank moment when Eubank went at Frank, Eddie, all of them went at all of them. Yeah. I've done. I think I've done Crawford Madrimov in America. I've done a few different ones. I remember I did Eubank. I did the second Eubank Ben one as well. Remember in London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
You did. Yeah.
So I wasn't put off by it, but I remember thinking, nah.
They make you reevaluate those moments.
Yeah, I remember thinking, the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
But Andy Lee, though, funny enough, came up to me and said, "You've still got to do them. Like, they ask you, you've still got to do them." But I look at us as a team, and I'm like, no. Jamie's good at them. I'm good at face-offs, sit-down interviews. I'm good at presenting. Jamie's fantastic at reporting in ring. So it's almost a case of I just want a team that's good, as opposed to Ade, Jamie, do you know what I mean? Let's divvy it up and everyone do their strong suit. So in fight week, we've got the best fight team that can handle everything. So I'm not that mad at not doing them. Obviously, there's some big ones you want to get involved with, but I look at you and Dev and I think, have it. Fuck me, carry that.
I enjoy them now. After the first one.
You enjoy them now?
After the first one, I was like, okay, I can do this. It was after the first Eubank Ben fight week.
Yeah.
It was the first time in my, I don't want to say life,
No, go on, say it.
but career where I was like, do you know what? I actually backed myself a bit here.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this. You know, I used to have a lot of, stresses before I'd leave the hotel room. I still do it now. I have a bit of the same ritual that I do, and I have to, I do my prep in the same way, and put my tie on in the right way. I don't know, superstition or OCD. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But since that night in April last year, things have changed for me mentally. I think a little bit. Not
in terms of
my job, purely job focused.
Do you feel like now, and obviously, like I think in broadcasting, there's the top dogs, right? I look at like Laura Woods, Kate Abdo, and I think, oh my god, that's it. Do you think like now you've entered? Does that make any sense? Not those. I don't think I've like those are the top. But do you think now that I'm Jamie Ward, the presenter, I can do this stuff?
I think I've just entered
or confidence within yourself.
Confidence within myself that I can deal with things now live, and there's not many things, touch wood, that could come up that could really throw me off now.
Agreed.
And I just enjoy it all now. I really do
I
enjoy
actually
it now.
joke if something goes wrong now a bit as well.
Same.
Oh, they're in my ear. What was that? What's going on? Can't he? Now was before. But I think that's having good people around me. Like when I've got Tony Bellew there, I know it's fun.
Yeah.
When I've got Carl Frampton there, when I've got someone else up top, like I'm not sure if I'm like, this could go. But once I've got those two, and again, I throw to you, I throw to Darren, Adam, Barry, I feel like I'm good.
Because it is live telly, right? And it is going to go wrong. And we are only human beings. We are going to make mistakes and we're going to stumble. And like I say, the ability to laugh it off and then style it out is, I think it's a good thing. Because it does take a little bit of pressure.
That's the skill.
It does take a little bit of pressure to laugh.
All right, go on. So...
sorry, I skipped loads out. You went Eubank Ben 1.
Eubank Ben 1.
So normally, you'll relate to this as well. Yeah. So, when you get up there and you want to do your first, when you're presenting the show, for me, if I'm reporting, I still like doing the prelims, which is what I started on, obviously. Not as, because it's any less important than the live broadcast, but because for me personally, for a selfish reason, I like getting in the ring and doing an interview on the YouTube prelims just to get the ball rolling.
Ariel said that exactly the same thing the other day.
Broadcast.
Ariel said he sometimes sits there and gets cold because they say no interview. And he's like, he hasn't done anything for 40 minutes.
So that's what happened, Eubank Ben 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I get there, Tottenham Hotspur, I'm like, fucking. So, excuse my language, each time I got there, I'm like, everything's just getting a bit more. So after the presser, I felt really relaxed because that's what I've been way more nervous about the presser than I had been for anything else. So, because this is like the biggest breakthrough, week of my life, the whole thing's mental. And then I speak to DAZN, we're doing like the running order stuff and how things are going to work. So I didn't do anything until the main event.
I hate when, I can't lie to you, I hate the fact that we're on an app and everything's got to be sped up. No interviews. No this. I'm like,
you might remember,
I'm rusty.
You did the watch along, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to remind you that you weren't.
No, that's okay.
It's one of the best nights in British boxing.
I only did the face off, the presser, did everything, but it's fine. It's okay.
So I remember I hadn't done anything, and I was like, I was reevaluating my whole existence. I was like, is congratulations a word? Like, I'm like, at this stage, I'm thinking, oh my God. And, obviously the fight saved me a bit because it was just so incredible. Eubank Senior turning up saved me.
Dude, it's a great
because then all of a sudden I've got so much more to talk about because Senior's there. So all you ask Junior, right? Reflect, because let's be honest, in a post-fight interview, you're not got time to sit there and ask a million questions. It's
especially a fighter where fighters have taken that much damage.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I'm concerned. Yeah, when they've taken, I remember watching that thinking, this ain't going to be a long one because he needs to get to hospital.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to get it quickly, right? And they'd also said to me that you've got 5 minutes. I don't know if you remember, the interview didn't go out into the stadium.
Yeah.
So, and the lights had come on. So they were like, you got 5 minutes basically to get in there and get exactly what you need. So you're like, okay, right. So who do I need to get? I need to get Eubank, Ben, and then Eddie and Ben Shalom. That was my plan in my head.
That's your 6 that you've made.
Yeah.
You've decided that entering the ring, this is what I'm going to do.
That's my plan. So I've gone right straight away to the winner, Eubank. Right, thoughts on the fight, what fight? Did Conor Ben surprise you? I think I said to him. And then look, and this man, for him to turn up on a night like this, how much did the lift did that give you? And then Eubank Senior just gave that. I don't know if you remember some of his answers in that interview. Was brilliant. Then straight across the ring, and that viral clip of me and Ben Shalom. Do you remember that went viral? Because it looked like I just ignored him.
But that wasn't the plan.
No, the plan was, and if you hear me in the interview, I've spoke to Ben about it since. I say, and we'll try and grab Eddie and Ben Shalom if we get time. So I'm like crossing the bridge of the ring and keeping speaking so people aren't switching off. Get to Conor, obviously he's really upset. Get to Nigel, get to Eddie, and as I'm going to make my way back over to Ben Shalom, I'm told that's it. So I did feel bad. I felt bad afterwards. And then I got out the ring and my phone was going mad.
Yeah,
because everyone had posted this clip of me.
Promoters look at it.
Past Ben.
Promoters. And this isn't a Ben Shalom thing. This is all promoters. That kind of moment, they want their moment as well.
But it was not my intention. I swear. Like, I think a lot of people thought, he works for MATCHROOM. He's ignored Ben on purpose. That was not the case. And I've spoke to Ben about it since.
That is your biggest moment, isn't it? I mean, I jumped and said that's your biggest.
Yeah, I think both Eubank Bens are. Yeah. I think the second one felt like night and day away from the first one for me. Yeah. Because the first one was so alien. I felt so out of my depth and terrified. Everything was terrifying for me that week. You know,
even me hosting the second one. Obviously, I hosted the second one. Yeah, I was back. it just didn't feel.
I
the
don't
same.
think the show would have happened if you weren't there.
No, it just didn't feel the same. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing moment. I'm getting to host a return, and 50 Cent's walking in. I'm like, this is crazy. But the first one just had me at home watching it. I've never been so like scraping the wood off my table.
Eubank Senior.
I couldn't believe
that
it.
Moment.
That I'm Here moment by Adam Smith.
I don't know if this happened. I'm claiming it, but I don't know if it happened. So I heard from I think it was the Boxer or Sky Sports News guys were next to me, and they were like, Eubank Senior's here. So I'm like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like I remember going on the lazy button where you can speak back to the producers, saying, I think you should not tell the commentators this and just let them
get out. Stop it. Stop it. Listen. Don't tell me you made this moment.
I swear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they did tell Adam. I think they told him because he goes, have a look at this.
Oh,
I've never asked him though. But in my head, it was the reaction was raw.
Dude,
that he's here,
dude,
which he nailed it. Oh my God, talk about nail it.
He's here to them walking through to Conor Ben and Nigel looking at the screen.
Oh yeah, pure WWF.
It's the best TV I've seen in years.
Took me back to writing my reports on John Cena.
And although the second one still had the drama, that moment was never going to be.
Epic,
It's never going to beat that moment again. You're never going to beat the egg slap again. Like everything was just like, this is perfect.
So basically,
and then the fight was the greatest fight I've seen in years.
One of the greatest commentary moments in British boxing history
was you.
I'm claiming it. Well, it wasn't me, but I'm claiming it.
No. So you should.
I'm joking. But I don't know. I have to ask Adam.
Yeah.
If he knew that Senior was about to get out of that car.
Even if he did, he made it.
He made it seem like he didn't.
He made it sound like he didn't. And sometimes, incredible. And I guess that's the skill of a commentator. You can go on and on. It literally was, he's here.
Oh, he nailed it. Yeah.
Dumb. In that voice. And I was like,
he earned his money.
He earned his money, indeed.
And then the second one was big.
The second one was enormous.
Yeah.
I mean, look, maybe we take it for granted the fact that we do events and there's 70,000 people and 90,000. And, AJ Dubois, 95,000.
Oh,
that's not normal. That's just like we're right in the middle, right in the thick of things where everyone would love to do what we do. We have the best seat in house, and me and you are always ringside with each other, right next to each other most times. Money can't buy seat. Like we're in the seat, what money can't buy. Like the rich people behind us actually in it. The VVIP.
How many times have we been there though? And we're just like, when Sweet Caroline comes on, and we're like, oh, God, look at this. And how many times has a fight caught fire and we're going like,
hitting each other's legs, and he's hitting me like, Ade bloody. Yeah,
I think
it's a dream job, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I say, like it's happened so quickly. It feels really surreal for me. Like I say, I've been at MATCHROOM for 7 years in the summer, but it does still feel like it was, wasn't that long ago until I had zero experience.
Yeah.
I think Matchroom are quite good at that. If they see that you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter what you come into the business to do, they will offer you the leverage and the opportunity to go down different routes if you want to.
Yeah.
And
you've done them all though now, isn't it? And so, I think I said this at the start of the show, but you've hosted the presser, you've presented shows,
yeah,
you've done the in-ring interviews, you've now got your own show with Matchroom as well, where you get fighters on and you're hosting that. I love the stuff you do when you like the one with fishing with Dalton. Those type of stuff,
people
those
like
kind
that
of off-the-cuff stuff, which are very, very different. It shows a different side of the personality of fighters. So you've done all. The only thing I think's left, and me and you were speaking about this before we came on air, is or started recording, was America.
Yeah.
Because me going to America, maybe I'm of the age when America was the biggest. So you've got to go to America because that's where the biggest shows are, Madison Square Garden, T-Mobile. And I'm like, do you want to go to America? Like, is that a thing where you're like, I want to do something in America? For Matchroom, obviously, for boxing.
Well, I owe, again, don't want to sound like a company man, but I owe Frank Smith and Eddie a lot. They've done... Frank's always backed me.
Frank's great.
And he's always...
Got me a booking in Carbone restaurant.
There you go.
Yeah,
he's a good man to know, Frank Smith.
He's incredible.
He is.
A quick story. I was with my missus very quickly. I was in New York. I phoned up and said to Carbone, can I get a table? They're like, yeah. This was June. They said, yeah, we've got a booking available in August. Frank Smith phoned, got me the same booking, same night, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
That's Frank Smith.
Yeah. So he's done a lot for me, my career. And we sat down and he was like, do you want to go to America? Do you want to do the American shows? And I think for me at the minute, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I think that's the same. I've been asked to commentate and I said no. Because I think, look, boxing fans are quite demanding. Yeah. But it's a good thing, right? Because they're passionate. Boxing fans are really passionate, especially the hardcores. And they demand the best, and they demand the best coverage, and that's what they should get, right?
They know when you don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know.
They will tell you when you don't know.
I'm not a commentator.
We've seen presenters and reporters come in and you don't see them again because they will let you know.
I think it's very important not to spread yourself too thin. And I felt like I would have been going into that. It's one thing commentating on a game of FIFA with my mates when I was 12. That would have been the first commentary gig I'd ever done on live sport, would have been live on DAZN. And I was like, that's not right. I'm not ready for that. Yeah. It's one thing now, I can say I'll present the shows now. That's still something I'm working on, is fronting the shows on DAZN. One day I hope to be as good as you are. Because you're relaxed and you have the energy and you've been doing it for so long, but with the in-ring interviews and stuff, I'm really comfortable because I've been doing that for years now. But I think it's important not to spread yourself too thin. And Frank basically said to me, he was like, look, do you want to do the American shows as well? Yeah. I think there was part of me that was like, I don't want to spread myself too thin again. And if I go to all the American shows, I'm going to be missing out on spending time with the UK fighters, which I do a lot of, which I think is probably my most important aspect of my job when it comes to fight night, because I have a good relationship with a lot of the fighters. So when I get in the ring, they trust me. A lot of them know me, which is great. They give me a bit more. They know I'm not going to try to stitch them up. They also acknowledge that I have to ask them the tougher questions. Even if you're friends with them, you have to put that to the side massively. You have to get in there and do the fans, give the fans what they want, like we talked about earlier, and also give the fighters their moment, But I basically said no at that stage of my career. This was last summer. Because I also think, I don't know if this is wrong, I don't know what you think about this, American audience, I think, should have American broadcasting. Yeah. I just think...
I know what you mean.
There
are some fights, though, that I do feel like Shakur Stevens and Teofimo Lopez coming up. Do you want to be involved in the biggest fights? Like when it's all said and done, and I look back, I feel like I just want to say to myself, involved in the biggest. Yeah. Worldwide. Do you know what I mean? And that one's one of the biggest there is. I
think for me, I'm in no rush though. Like I say, because everything's happened so quick. I thought I'd be doing this, mate, at 30, late 30s. I thought I'd get my breakthrough. Like, believe it or not, I'm 28, which is quite hard to believe. Have you heard about the paper rounds in Essex, mate? It's tough.
No, I can see that Barbados sun on your face.
Well, it was there for my tan for about 1 minute, and then it peeled off. But I'm just, at the minute, I'm really content with just trying to be the best that I can be at what I'm doing. Because I'm already doing quite a lot, and, I'm, like you say, I've got a few different series with Matchroom that I'm doing, and the UK calendar is going to start really filling up.
It's crazy.
And at the minute, my main focus is just really being as strong as I possibly can in the UK market.
Final one before we wrap. We've been talking for an hour, believe it or not.
Have we?
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
What?
It's incredible. Yeah. There's the clock. It's an hour.
Sorry, everyone.
That's right. Sorry. No. That shows how much our fun it's been because it's gone so quick. Where's Jamie in 5 years?
I have no idea.
Yeah. And I like that answer because I think everyone thinks of a structure of but me and you are quite similar in the sense that there was no plan to do this really. So wherever I am in 5 years, wherever I am in 5 years.
Yeah. Well, there was like I said, it was a mad dream that I had to one day be in this world. I think for me, not to sound, get too deep here, but like aside from work, I want to be a dad and, I want to have a family. And like my next probably big ambition in life is to be a father, which I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, a rich father. No.
But I think that's my next big goal, I think. And that's obviously my personal life. But for me, in a work perspective, it's just continue to be the best that I can be, grow, always move the ceiling, always challenge myself, always say yes.
SJA award?
I'd love to win that. Yeah. I finished third last year. It's the under 31 to watch on air award.
Did they ask for your passport just to check?
Well, that's what we got time for.
No, good luck with
that.
So
I'd love to win that. Obviously, it's not about award really. It's about how you feel within yourself, and I guess how fans view you. And because I think I don't want to bang on, but you talk about like the comments and stuff. A lot of the time, unless someone's saying, "Oh, Jamie's an ugly bastard," you can't take much from that. But if they're saying, "Jamie, why don't you try this?" A lot of the time, the comments can be really good constructive criticism.
Yeah,
I read them and I take some stuff on board sometimes.
Dude, I don't shy from them. Yeah, because sometimes they've helped me with my YouTube. Sometimes they help me with the way I'm presenting. And obviously, look, you can't take too much from it because that'd be stupid. But it's always been constructive with me. Yeah. I feel like fans might be because of my YouTube channels. I've already got that fan base that's then come over. But I get a lot of love from fans on YouTube, as you do as well.
So you should. So you should, mate.
Jay, our time's up. It's been fantastic.
I really enjoyed that.
Really enjoyed it too. Thank you very much.
But yeah, 5 years, who knows?